Hey up everybody, welcome back to the Audi Cycling YouTube channel, where today I am going to be doing a preview for the Gran Piemonte. Excuse my dressing gown, but there is a pretty significant climb in this race. It crests with about 50 kilometers to go. It is 3 kilometers long and about 8%, so there is a bit of debate as to whether this is going to be a sprint or whether perhaps a group might escape on this climb and then hold off till the finish. I would probably say that looking at the start list, there seems to be a bit more of a favouring from teams towards it being a sprint. I think that it's more than likely going to be a sprint, but I will provide some other alternatives in case you think you might go with a team that has some attackers in there. So, looking at the most expensive riders, Nizzolo, Moscon, I'm not really too keen on these. I don't think that Nizzolo's had a particularly great year, and I'm not really sure if it's going to turn around for this one race, to be honest with you, considering that it's not a massive target for him, and he's also not trying to peak for Lombardia or anything like that. Moscon I just don't really pick. Ballerini did win the other day, and therefore I would probably say that he is going to be a good choice. There is Cavendish in the Quick-Step team as well, but I think that Ballerini climbs just better than Cav, so I would expect Ballerini to probably be the guy for the Quick-Step team. Hershey I expect to be a domestique for Trentin. Mohoric looked very good at the Croatia race recently. In fact, he was sprinting for bonus seconds. So I think that Mohoric would be the favoured rider for Bahrain, especially considering that they don't seem to have anybody else with a fast finish. They do have a team filled with quite a few climbers, so perhaps they might want to be trying to make the climb harder so that Mohoric has a better chance in a sprint, for example. I think that Mollema, probably not a great one, just looking to get some form ahead of Lombardia. Trentin, I think, is going to be an absolute must-have choice. He's looked in sensational form recently, ever since really Luxembourg World Champs. He's just been on fire. I think that Trentin is a person who you must have on your team, alongside probably Ivan Garcia Cortina, who, very similar to Trentin, has looked really good since the World Championships, and I think is certainly going to be a rider who should be contesting for the win in this race. Viviani I expect to be dropped. Magnus Cort Nielsen, I put him on in the last race, and he just kind of lets me down in terms of one-day races, and so I'm probably going to avoid him, although he could certainly fit the bill as a rider who should be doing very well in this race. It's just that for some reason he doesn't. Badjoli and Bettiol would be two riders I'd suggest if you are wanting some attackers to go away on that climb and hold off to the finish. I think that both of those are fantastic options if you want that. Cavendish for 16, I think he'll be dropped, so I don't think that's going to be a great one. Pasqualon at 16, without the likes of a Quentin Hermans here, or like a Binyam Girmay or anything like that. Pasqualon is going to be the fastest rider for Intermarché, so I think that Pasqualon would be a really good one for you to go with. I think he came 22nd in the sprint the other day, so I would probably go with Pasqualon. I think that he's a pretty good choice, to be honest with you. Chimolai is here, but they also have Consoni, so they might be going for either one of those. Mezgec hasn't looked too great recently, might be the lead-out man for Groves. It depends if Groves makes it or Mezgec gets it. I just think that there's too many question marks as to whether they'll be going for Mezgec or not. I think it's better off picking a rider who's got a bit more certainty about him. I think that Van der Sande will be working for Olav Koy, who is one of the 10-pointers here. Consoni, as I said, he has looked in pretty good form recently, but DNF'd the other day, so a little bit of a question mark for me over Consoni, but if he does make it, he will be one of the favourites to win this race. Cantor could have his own opportunity, could be working for Garcia Cortina, or Movistar might be trying to still get some UCI points and get both of them in the top 10. I'm not too sure. I think that Cantor would more than likely fill into the lead-out role as opposed to being the sprinter. That's just my take on it. Olav Koy, surprisingly good at climbing. At the under-23 road race, he was looking in pretty good shape. He was getting over those climbs pretty nicely. So I think that he would be a very good choice, and I think that for 10 it's a very dangerous option to be leaving out. I expect a lot of people to be putting him on, and I don't want you to be the one who's missing out on him. I don't think that the rest of the 10s are particularly great. In terms of 8-point riders, you've got Thomas Gloag, possibly, but again, probably working for Olav Koy, I would expect. But Gloag has looked really good recently, so if an attack does go off a front, I think that he would be likely a part of that. Jonathan Navarez seems to be the fastest finisher for Ineos. I know they've got Viviani, but I don't think Viviani is going to make it over this climb. So I'd say that Navarez is a good choice for you to go with at 8. And then in terms of 6s, there are some very good ones. including I think there's like Angelius Leknesund, there's Groves as well, if you want Groves, that is. Hater, possibly, Leo Hater, that is. Could be a bit of a sprinting option for the Ineos Grenadiers, but I expect them more to go with Jonathan Navarez. Leknesund has been given the green light according to DSM's press release to go attacking on that climb, so again, another attacker if you so see fit. I think that he would be a very dangerous option to be letting off a front, but again, his kind of, his usefulness is relatively niche in this, in terms that he's going to have to get away and then try and solo away, and I'm just not sure about that. But apparently they're going for Meyer Hofer if it comes back to a sprint RDSM, so just bear that in mind. You could go with either or. Stefano Oldani is going to be a great choice for a lot of teams. He came, I think it was 3rd place the other day behind Corbin Strong and Ballerini, so I think that Oldani is looking really good. I think he's climbing exceptionally well at the moment as well, so he's probably the leader for Alpecin. I think he will be, an absolute kind of almost a must to put onto your team. Tesfazion will be a decent one for Drone Hopper. He climbs very well. And then in terms of 4-point riders, there really aren't any which I like the look of, to be honest with you. Apart from, shout out to this Madis Michels, he's like an Estonian, rides for Intermarché. He's a bit of a good sprinter. I think he finished 4th of the under-23 road race, so shout out to him there, but I don't really expect him to do much here. Oh, and also Corbin Strong, of course. I think Nizola will probably drop, so Corbin Strong could be a good choice. So this is the team that I'm thinking of going with. I don't think you'll really get close to 100 credits, but put all your teams in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what we're all thinking. And of course, I'll be putting up a video for Lombardia when that comes out, and then Paris Tours as well. And then that'll be Superclasico done with, unfortunately. So all that is left to say is to keep safe out there, and I'll see you in the next video.